Not a lot of percent. Top of the morning, two ladies. It's me. Everything Clinicular aspires to be. He did surgery to look like me. Did you see that? Hey, I really did have a dream. Um, I think years ago, 2 years ago, where there was a girl running around. I was at like this nice, fancy bistro type. I don't know if bistro's the right word. It was this like a lounge, red, nice seats. I was in the back section by myself, and all the famous people were over there. There was somebody running around outside in the dark in an empty city. I opened the window and went, "Hey, does anyone give you water?" And she was like, "No." So I was like, "Here," and I grabbed a water bottle and handed it to her. And then there was a older black gentleman with a hoodie on, and I just felt he respected me. He was like, "What?" Like he had never seen somebody like me before. And he wanted a water, but I didn't do it. I don't know. Sometimes people enter the chat and my live stream just dies. I don't know what that is. But yeah, that was kind of freaky. You heard me? Body armor for the evening. We'll see who pops in the chat. We'll see who comes in tonight. Can you let me know if I'm lagging? I got pretty shitty service out here, man. But I do life path readings and I help people with mental illness and I tell some fucking crazy stories about what my life has been like. It's 12/11 and my birthday's 12/11. I'm a Sagittarius, man. What can I say? You know, the long face. People always ask Sagittarius, why the long face? It's because we're literally like the gods of the zodiac, you heard? Meerkats. You think Maya Higa would let me pet a meerkat? If I dressed up like a leprechaun? Can y'all tell me if I'm lagging or not? And then we'll get in. Maybe I'll do some life pass reading shit. Oh my god! What if I everything I go by? What about? So you just want me to leave this place behind? Does the coin work? No. So that negates everything. I used to do that shit. I was alone. I'd have panic attacks, and I know what's possible. And I've seen that has never led me astray. To be honest, like I followed seagulls through Burlington, Vermont, right to left, left to right, and followed it all the way to McDonald's where they eat. Duh, they go to the food. But then when I got in there, MGK was in there. MGK was just standing there. So I asked him. I was like, "Do you like be?" I'm like, "Hey," I said, "Hey, I don't want to bother you. I just can I ask you one question?" And he was like, "Yeah, sure, bro." I was like, "Do you like being famous, or at the end, would you rather have done something different? Because I'm chasing that right now, and it's kind of all I think about." And he said, literally verbatim, "I would rather be in the woods with my my name's Casey, and I was living in the woods." And I was like, "Oh my god!" I'm losing. It's a man on a horse. I, I'll get cornrows. Am I stoned or are you lagging? I've been waiting. I have been waiting for people to tell me if I am lagging or not. I'm too. I heard a crow in the middle of the night. Why would there a crow? What do you want, Corvus? Yeah, I'm just too powerful. My service doesn't work. My Skibbity Quantum Rizix are too Ohio for the live stream. You know what I'm saying? It don't work well. It don't work too well out here. Maybe if I put you like is that any better? Or is it not? Am I just lagging too hard? If I give the camera less things to try to pick up, usually it works. If I go live like this, it works. Can you tell me if I'm coming in clearly? Am I coming in clearly? Are you feeling it now? There's the crickets have, even though I mowed the lawn, the crickets are approaching my window to connect me back to the Matrix and steal my Skibbity Ohio Riz. There's nothing in my vape. It sucks that I don't get no service out here, man, because I would be doing life path readings, and I need an office space. I'm your freaky Casey. I need an office space, man. Okay, here's the game plan. I have $250. It cost me $20 to get back to the Burlington area. When I get to the Burlington area, somebody is selling a woodshed for $50. It's usually $150. He's selling it for $50. I'm gonna try to get out there and get that. Get back here, put the firewood in the woodshed, and then that big ass firewood, because they said they don't want people living up here in the winter. So the owner can't physically. He's too old to come here. So I'm trying to take all that firewood out of that massive shed, move that shed back 6 feet. Thank you, Angel Love. What do you look like? Is that actually what you look like, or are you AI? I'm trying to move that firewood shed back like 10 feet and then fill that bitch full of lumber. Then I'm trying to get a. I'm so. I mean, if I spend that money, I won't, but I'm trying to get a cordless framing nailer. But I can make do. Somebody's giving me a free framing nailer and a free air compressor. So then I can make my own shed. Do you know what I could do with my own shed? If I get the skills, I could pay the bills. You know what I'm saying? I make 10 sheds. I only charge them for materials. So instead of paying 6 grand for a shed, you pay me 1 grand for a shed. Then instead of paying $130 for a storage unit, I give you a shed. You pay me $80 a month. It's a good deal for you. You only paid for the material cost. It's a trust thing, so it's like members of a church. If I can make 20 sheds, $80 a month, that's $1,600 a month. You're 23? Angel. Angel Love. I'm 26, but I was essentially in a coma for 4 years. I'm healed now, but I was like not functioning for 4 years. I had a car accident. So I say that I'm just 21. Like if people ask, I don't say it, but I just kind of hold myself to the standard of being 21. I don't like that people in their 20s, everybody's having sex with each other. I try now that I'm cool, I'm back. I go out and talk to people, and everybody my age is just going to bars and they're all having sex with each other. And I'm like, You lost your daughter at 19. I lost my son at 19. Is this the universe bringing us together? My son died when I was 19. That's why I got in the car accident. His name was Avery. Or we were going to name him Connor. We weren't sure yet. I'm sorry to hear that, man. But for I don't know if it'll help, but for me, it always felt like there was a connection with the kid. And after he died, because he was never born, he died like the last month, and we're not totally sure if she aborted it or not. But to me, it always felt like that connection was still there. Like it just wasn't the right time. And the soul was like, it's cool. I'll come through in 20 years. You know what I'm saying? Like, I still feel like my son is spiritually out there. It didn't feel like that left. It just felt like the physical left. The spirit, like, I still feel like he's, just in the pipeline. It just wasn't his time. He punched me in the stomach when he figured out I was 8 weeks pregnant. Damn. I've heard stories like that. Every loss is a lesson. Every rejection is a blessing, man. I really believe that. Like life sucks, but I still feel like even it sucks for a reason. Like I wanted to work at a horse ranch. I really want to work at a horse ranch. I emptied my pockets today, and all of my quarters are just are just dudes on horses. And I asked I got two horses like for carpentry yesterday or the day before. And I think I asked God today like should I go should I try to work at a horse ranch and be a cowboy? And then I ask the universe right to left for yes and left to right for no. And the two quarters in my pocket the whole time, like weeks before these were in my pants for probably months because I did my laundry the other day. These were in my pockets. So for months, even though I just asked today, I found them today and it's two right to left. It's right to left for me. The camera might be flipped, but it's right to left for yes, go work at the horse ranch, man. So that's what I'm trying to do. I'm sorry to hear that, Angel. If I'm coming in clearly, if you post your birthday, it's not Skibbity Ohio Riz, but I do mainly get money on the internet doing life path readings, where it's Chinese astrology, um, ancient numerology, and just regular Western astrology. And then usually together with all three, you can find that there's like a dope. That's my Skibbity Ohio Quantum Riz, guys. Angel says she'll reverse cowgirl me. I'm sorry to hear that. I'm sorry to hear the trauma dump. It sucks, but maybe in the future. I'm thinking if I get like a right now I'm on somebody else's 100 acres and I'm working on building a bunch of gardens and it's open for prayer. So I'm trying to make it so more people want to come up here. But in the future, if I'm trying to get reached out to Cinna, Cinna on I think she's on Streamer University now. I reached out to Cinna and she hasn't answered yet, but maybe she might. And I said, hey, Do you know anyone that could help me get this? There's 300 acres in Vermont. It's a mountaintop, and I'm trying to get it log trails through the forest, sell the logs for profit, get on. It's called current use. It's a tax thing to get 80% off taxes, and then homestead credit gets another 80% off. So my taxes would only be like $2,000 a year. So if I can just get to that million, I can have that property the rest of my life. I just have to work 2 weeks a year and I'd have it. So I want to build a bunch of tiny sheds in like a tiny shed village, and I want to take in foster kids, and I want to build a horse ranch and a gym, and on the other side of the property, walled off so that the kids aren't affected. I'll be saving like one or two homeless people at a time, getting them off the street, getting them working out, getting them working with animals, getting them skills with carpentry, and then getting them connected to homesteads across the country. And also, I want to manufacture wagons that are like rickshaws, but the roof and the walls and the floor all fold in, and the wheels fold in and can be carried like a suitcase. So no more homeless people living in tents. And I think it's really doable if I can get to that million. I'm $1 million plus taxes away from doing that, and I could do it like that. I would end homelessness like that. That's wild. If you imagine me, rural Vermont treated me like shit. They'd try to kill me in the woods. They ripped open my tent, maced me, dragged me through broken glass, false police reports and trespasses. Nobody would hire me, and I just walked across the whole state trying to find something. I'd love to be buff, have a bad bitch on my horse. Maybe if I could get an assault rifle on my back and I'm playing guitar or something, and then just an army of homeless people. And we just go into town and just clean up everything, go to the people that treated me with kindness, do YouTube videos where we give everybody that treated me well $1,000, and then people come to me with stories of people who helped them. But it wouldn't be through the YouTube channel because it would become like everybody's asking me for money. It would be that if I hear somebody, like there was this girl at the dollar store or like the gas station that would give me the food that was expired back when the other gas stations were locking their trash cans so I couldn't eat out of the dumpster a few years ago. I'd go to those places and be like, here's $1,500. What are you trying to do in life? And then we help make their dreams come true. I think I would overtake Kai Cenat in 3 weeks. Throwing luau's on my mountaintop instead of Streamer University where they do satanic rituals and shit. Can you have $40? No. Can I have $40? Can I have $40? But yeah, I do like if you post your birthdays, I do life path readings where basically you can find the reason that you're alive through your birthday. It goes a lot better when Demon Hunter's here for some reason. So when my Demon Hunter pops in, she usually does she Googles things for me. But if you post your birthday, you find that it's scarily accurate, and often I'll get literal messages from probably angels. I one hella country woman, and I am Southern. I am native, and I am part white, and I have a heart of gold. I'm a New York native mutt, and I'm Irish. I hate white people, though. I hate white people, man. I shit on them all the time. But yeah, Angel, what's your birthday? Wah, 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 wah. If you're a Cancer, that's crazy. Or if you're a Libra, if you're a Gemini, you can go to hell. I fucking hate Geminis, man. I'm trying to get a dog soon. I'm trying to get a Black Lab German Shepherd mix. I think I might name him Doug. Somebody offered me a corgi puppy, but I don't really want to walk around with a corgi. If I get a corgi, that shit's getting taken by an eagle. You're an Aries. You're an Aries snake, horse, goat. You're an Aries goat 8 day. That's powerful. Okay. All right. Is that my woodshed? Okay. Being born on the 8 day, it does mean people would consider you generally attractive. The problem with the Aries is that they naturally have this strong sense of self, and they were bullied for it. And they, people didn't even know why they treated you like shit, but they did. Either ostracized you because you were too like kind of, I want to say zany, like a creative, and it was just because you naturally have energy that pulls towards you at a higher place than most people are comfortable with. So when people are uncomfortable, they tend to attack that. So they wanted to make you feel cut off from your crown or just your crown chakra. So what that does to people that are Aries specifically is it makes them really want to overachieve, because if they think that if they get trophies and recognition and respect and a night like management position and or something that makes them feel like they deserve to feel as powerful as they think they are, they often struggle with this feeling that they should have some type of power, but they don't have it, so they get involved with like some type of personal war to get them to this point where they're allowed to be okay. The 8 day is aggressive white male. Come on. Colonizer entered the chat. Uh, the 8 day means that for a lot of your, it depends on if you believe in past lives. There is evidence, like there was an Indian boy that was born, and by the time he was 5, he was saying, "I lived as a man who owned a carpet store or something. Like I owned a carpet store, and I had a wife and 2 kids," and he really remembered it all. So eventually, his parents, because they were sick of hearing it, brought him to the store, and the people that he described that his family was before he died were there. And he goes up and he knows their name and he knows their kids' names. He's like, "I am literally that guy. I reincarnated as this Indian boy." And then they're talking, and then he goes, I was shot, right?" And she was like, "Yeah." And he was like, "I was murdered, right?" And she's like, "Yeah." I was like, he said, "I know who did it." So they go to the police station and they entertain him. They bring out a list of people, and he picks who killed him in a past life. And after 2 weeks of investigating, the man confessed that he shot the man that this kid claims to be. So if you believe in past lives, being an 8 energy, so 1 and 7 is 8, being an 8 energy means that through your past lives, you did a lot of things and you're very good at a lot of things. You naturally are carrying with you what you've learned from those past lives, instead of, say, if you came out as a 1 day, you wouldn't really be bringing what it wouldn't, your past lives wouldn't have much to do with your kind of day-to-day life. As an 8 day, what you're doing in your day-to-day life and who you are reflects and expresses the mastery that you learned over time, and this added sense of responsibility, because what happens in your day-to-day is a catalyst for karma. So the choices we make in life change how we are. Our subconscious mind is constantly being programmed and influenced by everything around us, and what you do with the decisions you make change the state of yourself. And some people, specifically 8 days, 11 days too, there's bigger moments that create change for people, and it's orchestrated for 8 and 11 days to be about that person. You're what they call a canon event in people's lives. That canon event where it's like an important thing that brings change in people's lives. That's the energy that you have, is that the things that you do in your day to day are very important for other people because it changes them based on their actions prior to meeting you, if that makes sense. As a goat year, right? So 2000 is the dragon, 2001 is the snake, 2002 is the horse, 2003 is the goat, and you're 2003, right? Yeah. Yeah, so you are a goat. Goat years are artistic. So it would mean that I think that you're always changing yourself. You either have a really strong sense of self, but most of your energy is balanced in you. So that makes me think that you're constantly reinventing yourself. But the goat years slowly create art that's very like very high vibrational, kind of golden and sentimental, and they're always pushing out art. You being an Aries and the 8 day makes me think that it has something to do with yourself. You know what a Lil is? Lil what? Like Lil Wayne, Lil Pump. No, I don't. What is it? Let's do your life path. So you're 4, 5, 12, 14. Holy shit. You're a 5. Hold on. 5, 6, 13, and 4. You're an 8 life path as well. You're an 8 day, 8 life path. That was a car, not a crow. That's crazy. It Aries 8, 8. That's a star. That's an older soul. That's somebody that's really good at a lot of different things, and they're here to make a big change in the world. I would wait, and it has to do with creativity. You might be a content creator. Were you a stripper? I heard erotic dancer. Were you an erotic dancer? Are you over 18? Oh, hold on. 2003. So you in 2023 you were 20. So you are 23. Why did I hear erotic dancer? Like I have a brat side in a sense. You got Skibbity Ohio in you. 23, that's not bad. I don't think you were were you an iPad kid? You were an iPad kid? Everyone that was born after 2000 is complete, or 2001 is completely different than the people born before 2001. It's a whole different generation for real. I think you still had time to grow up with a DS and a GameCube, but you might have been an iPad kid, man. I don't know. I hope it's not demonic, but I heard erotic dancer. If you're trying to be a stripper, there's your confirmation. Do it up here, man. Do it for me, man. Don't do it for those fucking truck stop losers out in Ohio or whatever you are. Out in Kansas. Or Tennessee. Are you in Tennessee? I hope you're not. You said you're southern. Is it southwest? Are you in Arizona, man? I'll do other people's life path readings in a minute. In 8-8 Aries, that's purple. That's double Scorpio energy. So I asked a lot of questions for you to say yes, I am. I don't know what that means. Don't be an erotic dancer. I don't know why I heard that, but I heard it. Don't be an erotic dancer, man. Don't do it. But it is a powerful energy for real. But yeah, I really don't with the energy that you're coming with, you don't want to be a manager of some corporation. You don't I mean I could see you on a tractor. I see you at a farm. I didn't see you in I mean I saw you in a flat place, but I saw there was grass. So I'm not sure you're in Texas because I don't know if Texas even has grass out there, right? Isn't it a desert? I've only been through Texas and it looked like a desert out there. Does Texas have grass or is it a desert? Like does Texas have fields and mountains? When I think of Texas, I think of a lot of sand or dirt or whatever. But I saw that you might like I saw you in a pair of those jeans that have before you said Texas, I saw you in a pair of those jeans where it's got like the button on the back pocket with the triangle flap so it's buttoned in and then it's got the white stitching on it. I saw you in a pair of those and a green shirt, like a green and brown shirt, and you were on a tractor. So I wanted to say you were like in Oklahoma or something. But Texas makes sense. Is it true that everything's bigger in Texas? Is everybody just huge down there? In Vermont, it's the opposite. Everybody's like Plank from Ed, Edd and Eddy. They look like They look like storks. In northern Vermont, everyone looks like storks. In southern Vermont, best looking people I've seen in my life. After you get to past 2002 birthdays, everybody born after 2002 looks like inbred freaks. Everybody between 1997 and 2002 are like supermodels, and then everybody before 1998 looks like just completely different, like a whole different like epigenetic thing. They look completely different before that. I'm trying to see Texas. I think I can own it. I'm a felon. I don't know if I can own a gun, but I wanted to go down to Texas because I wanted to go on the mechanical bull and the shooting range, and there's just a lot of rich people out there. I'm trying to do something big with content that has to do with like building a big, getting a property that I could do big things on, like Whistling Diesel or whatever, and those types of people and go out and help people. I want to do something like that. I also want to go out to Hawaii and have a property. On the Big Island, you can find like 1 acre pieces of land for $10,000. I'm trying to get a piece of land in Hawaii to go in the wintertime. Spend 3 months in Hawaii a year. So I can just get buff and hang out on a boat. Hang out with all the people from across the world that go there to have fun. Okay. I'm seeing blue, green, pink, brown, tan, purple, a little bit of orange. And then I saw you wearing the jeans with the white embroidery on it. I don't know why erotic dancer came to me, but I would say you're not going to live a normal life. I would say that you're destined for something bigger than you think, and I think that you'll find that like every rejection is a blessing. Like for me, the horrible stuff that happened to me forced me to move, and the places that I went because I moved led me to $1 million property that I'm on now. I was guided, and if I didn't go when I felt like I should go, I was violently pushed out. So I think that like if I had stayed in that relationship with that person, I would be miserable. So I'm glad that my relationship ended, even though it was a horrible way for the relationship to end. Um, I'm happier with the way my life turned out at the end of it. I'm proud of even though I went through terrible shit, I'm proud of who I've become after that. So I think that I think you just need, I think you need to be careful because you're special and you're rare and you're very intelligent. You've got like this power to you and this confidence that I think a lot of people don't deserve to be around, if that makes sense. They don't deserve to be around or you like you should be really picky, I think. So you don't become like everybody else because you're not supposed to be like everybody else. Don't do the thing where everybody's having sex with each other. It just degrades you. You lose your sense of individuality. Eventually you lose your the ability to be like a child, and that's the way to enlightenment is spiritual childhood. When you get involved with like the social stuff like going bar hopping and hooking up with like 3 people a week and shit, nothing good ever comes from it. You just degrade, and then eventually you look back and you're like, I wish that I was who I was before I did all that shit. I really believe that if you hold out for the right one does show up. I ruined a lot of relationships because I wouldn't hold out for the right one, and I was a hoe. I was hooking up with a lot of girls, and then that who I became doing that made it so I wasn't able to be there when the person that was perfect for me was there. As far as I know, a lot of money is going to be coming through into your life. You can't be an 8-8 Aries and not have a shit ton of money coming in. I don't think you're supposed to do OnlyFans. Maybe, have you been thinking about dancing on TikTok and trying to do that type of stuff? Yeah, I don't know what it's like to be a girl. I think it's kind of dumb, but I also know that there is a lot of money in doing that. But you're made for a lot of money. You're gonna have a lot of money. You move from. So what I said, when you find 5 people that are born on 5 days, they're really attractive, but their life is constant change and momentum based. Your life is constant change, but it's a deeper, more powerful, fiery change that's always happening. This constant change. You're there for the community. You have this big presence here, and it's dark, but not in a bad way. Like deep, you're a deep person, and that deep allows for a lot of change. So you'll find that you're literally, without realizing it, where you're at this position, because you move from one location to one location to one location. you're either a part of your community where you're feeling a lot of pain and you're creating with it and making light of it, and then you don't realize how many people you're actually helping because you're accidentally, without realizing it, you're bringing all the stuff to yourself, and then you make it better, and that takes the weight off other people's shoulders. You probably find that people come to you and they feel intimidated by you, sadness, and you leave them feeling better. You show what your American coin looks like. It's two horses right to left, but the camera's flipped, so for me it's right to left. It's two cowboys on horses. We're talking about a goat year, 8 day, 8 life path, Aries. And that's a bad bitch if I ever that's a boss bitch, whatever you call it. That's someone with a big responsibility and a lot of talent, and they're here for a creative thing. She's here to create. And her name is Angel Love. That's pretty cool. For this powerful, bright energy I'm talking about. I would just say give yourself the love you deserve, self care routine, and just work on, like, don't go too hard in the gym that you look like a freak, but get bigger, take care, like, change your supplement stuff, feel better. Sort of just like work on being the best you, and you'll find that suddenly a lot of money's going to start coming through for whatever you're doing. I don't know if you're supposed to get on stage and be an erotic dancer, but it's George Washington, who was Irish with red hair, but he also had slaves. So he was a Freemason. I used to have a bunch of native coins. I think I left them in my shack in the woods. Do you want to know what my favorite animal is? Is a horse and a pony. Did you grow up with horses? And are you trying to work on a farm? Because I saw that you might really like working on a farm. Good old G Dubia. Good Dubia. What'd that mean? Clad frog. A Shetland pony. I want to get a pony, man. Because a pony's like a horse, but it's harder for it to escape. Oh, GW. I could probably get a pony and put a collar on it and then have it so it can't leave the property, and then I just let it free. So Christians come up here to hang out, and then a majestic white yellowish pony trots out of the forest trails, and he can come up and hang out with me when he feels like it. It'll probably be a girl pony, I'm not gonna lie. I'll get a girl pony. And then she can be in her stall down there, and I'll get a ATV or something and ride down to clean the stall every day and replace the hay. But I have a 50-acre hay field here. So you want to? I think if you just, without being narcissistic about it, if you just allow yourself to feel the way you want to feel, if you want to feel powerful, if you just let yourself be that, and don't let what other people said about you. If you know who you are and you're holding yourself accountable, you know you're a good person. You're being a good person. They're like, don't listen to all that bullshit that other people are trying to put you down with, and then just take care of yourself. And I do see that you do good on a farm. I don't know why I heard erotic dancer. I don't know if you're trying to be a stripper or what, but you'll find that as long as you're just happy and you're just doing things that are fun that make you happy, you're gonna get just money just thrown at you all the time. That 8 life path is just a vortex that energy comes in and you make it better with what you've mastered over many lifetimes. To be an 8 day and an 8 life path is crazy. So I would just do that. Just focus on having fun. Take some risks in life. Don't do the sleeping around with everybody because you're just left with STDs and spiritually diminished and full of regret. And then person that is meant for you shows up and you can't be there for that person because you fucked yourself up with your choices. I know a lot of really beautiful girls in my state that just got so much attention all the time, and then now they're full of STDs and they have a kid they don't want. They're miserable. You got a car coming in the next couple months? That's dope. Future reading my ass. He just wants to flirt with this fine young lady. I haven't seen if she's fine or not. She did start the conversation by saying that she would reverse cowgirl me. She wants to climb this mountain. Meant by fine. Hey, we're talking about cowboys, and Arthur Morgan enters the chat. You think I'm a con artist? Post your birthday, and post your actual birthday. Let me do the other one first. Angel, if you have any questions, I'm here. Let's do the next one. I'm not doing aggressive white male. Phantom Mangle, are you still in the chat? I'm down to do a Cancer 6, because I said Cancer to start out. I said Cancer and Libra. Arthur Morgan's a Virgo. 1984. Oh, he's also a 6. Arthur Morgan said July 6, 2004, but earlier he said a different birthday. Didn't you, Arthur? Let me go back. I can see your whole chat, man. I can see, said the... No, you didn't. Okay, cool. Somebody else said, no, you did. August 24th, 9... Which one is it, Arthur? Are you July 6, 2004 or August 24th, 1984? Arthur gave me 2 different birthdays. Arthur is probably who was that? Was it Fluttershy? I think this is the 3rd time that this guy has asked for readings. I think I've done his reading twice already. I think it was the reading where Spirit was saying "fuck you," and it gave him the name. It showed me his 2 dead cats, and it told me the names of his 2 co-workers, and it was saying, it showed me that, and he was like, "Yeah, those are my 2 dead cats and my 2 my 2 co-workers' names." And then everything else I was trying to get, Spirit was saying "fuck you." It wouldn't do it. If I was to come visit, would that be okay? I don't know. Maybe at some point. Out in Texas. Yeah, we'll see. I know tomorrow I have to haul all my wood around. Then I have to go probably take a 2-hour trip to pick up a woodshed. Then I have to maybe go across Lake Champlain and get a cordless framing nailer, which will be probably $120 total for all of that. And then come back and set up the woodshed, move all the firewood to the woodshed, take the big woodshed that they have, and move that back and turn that into a storage shed for all the lumber. try to put my carport together, turn that into, raise that up as a gazebo, and then come back up here, figure out what I want to do with the paving stone, organize everything. Once that all that's down in the woodshed area, this will be completely cleaned out. Then I'm setting up the gym. Then I have to figure out what I'm doing, if the landscape job, if she's still gonna hire me. She hasn't asked me to come back. She paid me. I think she's just kind of always busy. She's in an abusive relationship, so I think she's always got some shit going on. But she's a 28, she's a hustler. What are you saying? You benefit from the genocide of indigenous peoples, even the indigenous do? Hey man, are you just really lonely in life? Are you just not having fun? Are you enjoying? Be honest with us, man. Don't do the fucking I'm better than you bullshit. Do you actually feel like you're living an actually fulfilling life? Because I doubt it if you're here talking like this, man. There's so much more you can do. You know what I'm saying? Than whatever garbage you're trying to bring in here. There's so much better conversations we can have than just this accusatory I'm better than you war that goes in cycles and nobody ever gets anything but little tiny doses of heroin, serotonin, deluding ourselves that we're in this back and forth thing, and it's all about yourself. It has nothing to do with me. The pain is coming from you. It's your own garbage that you're dealing with, and I'm just a projection of your subconscious hatred towards yourself. And if you feel like, you feel like you actually make a change in me, that'll validate the change in you. I'm trying to tell you, you're projecting. It has nothing to do with me, because you haven't made a single point that's like relevant to anything with me. It's some garbage jumbled up in your broken mind. You know what I'm saying? It has nothing to do with me. Swear to God. The owl's going off. Fat Tobacco, let's see your channel activity. Have you been here before? Or are you an alt account for something else? You joined 5 days ago. Phantom Mangle. Phantom Mangle. Ooh, you got me. You're mangling me spiritually. Ooh. It's not working. You made your account 5 days ago. I'm sure I've blocked you before. Did you just say that the comments that I'm reading went in one ear and out the other? It's a Foxy troll account. It's not very foxy. Clyde Frog. Yeah, I don't know what his problem is. I don't know. I don't know this dude. I got some Pepsi left. Yes, he's degrading into depression. And he's hoping that we can help him. Pepsi. Yeah, I'll do some life path readings if my service is good. Pepsi. Pepsi. Where's my guitars in my car? I have another guitar though, but I don't know where my tuner's at. White lips, pale face. I got some pizza. Breathing in snowflakes, burn lungs, sour taste. Nights gone, days end, struggling to pay rent, lone night, strange men. And they say she's in the class. He degraded into nothing. He disintegrated in my chest. Oh. And then all he could do was just throwing anything he can out, trying to get a connection with me so that he could just try to make me feel bad, hoping that he can siphon out my happiness and that would make him feel validated for whatever delusional garbage he was trying to bring in here. Do you think weed is bad for the spirit? I think weed gives you awakenings you might not be ready for that you can find naturally through taking care of yourself. Weed is a fast track, and what you find is that all the great stuff that you learn from weed about how to live and how to love and all this stuff goes away as soon as it's like it turns spirit into sort of a fuel that you burn. It's not supposed to be like that. It's supposed to be like a nectar that grows into your body and makes everything better. With weed, you consume that light and it makes your brain fire and you go through like these great spiritual stuff. But at the end you're always left feeling empty, right? And you've killed your brain cells. I'm sure these also kill your brain cells, but weed it gets you in touch with spirit, but it's never in a sustaining way. And every time you do it, you have to do more of it the next time, then more of it the next time, then more of it the next time. And I just think like I would just take one hit of weed and then it would light the spark and then I'd let it grow out a little bit in my brain and start to fire my brain a little bit on more different cylinders. And then I would live in spirit and then focus on the music and start creating with it, which would, creativity in itself is mental illness because you're I wouldn't like it's crazy to call people on the that do this like they talk to a camera delusional because to create is to be outside of reality. Creativity in itself is delusion. You can't be creative and be in reality. Creativity is like the bridge between reality and spirit. A good creator that people are like that's a genius. He's like the Picassos and the Shakespeare's or whatever, like the highest art forms, the greatest artists. They're way out here, but they found a way to be way out here in a way that's here. People that they think are not good artists, they're terrible artists, they're bad musicians, but those are people that you find are very grounded here in reality. You take a break for like a week and get ripped, but to be honest, I don't get wasted like I used to, where it felt like a dream. When I would get drunk, I was just always doing bad shit. Every time I got drunk, I would sleep with the girls I knew had boyfriends. When I would get drunk, I would cheat. Every time I got drunk, I was evil. I was evil Casey every time I got drunk. So I didn't like alcohol because I'm still brave. It's not like it helped me it wasn't liquid courage for me. I didn't need alcohol to be brave and talk to girls and shit. But when I would drink, I think it limited my moral compass and I would get excited by doing bad things. Like when I was one time when I was 17, I got drunk and I hooked up with a girl and I knew her boyfriend was at work. So I hooked up with her and then I went to the bathroom and he came home. And normal Casey would just get the fuck out of there. Like the door was right here. I would have just left. Drunk Casey went back into the room and went, "It was great to see you. Oh, what up, Roman? How you doing, man?" And then left. And then I slipped and fell and hit my head and was just laying in the snow. I hit the curb and my friends pulled up and then just looked at me and laughed and then drove away and left me there. I never liked drinking because it wouldn't do. That was all it really did. It didn't open me up. It didn't make me feel better. I just did bad stuff. And then I think the last time I drank was in Miami. No, the last time I drank was at a nightclub in Albany, and I was with a bunch of ex-con felon gang members. And then there was a lot, like there was this really bad Asian girl that was just staring at me the whole time, and Jamaican Jack was like, "She's staring at you." And I looked over, and her eyes were like literally like red energy coming out of her eyes, sunken face, but she was really attractive, and she was just staring at me with like this coy smile. I looked over, and I felt like she was a tentacle monster. I was like, but then there was this really nice girl sitting there, just kind of enjoying herself. I'm like, she's not a, she's not like this girl. So I just asked her like, "Hey, what are you like?" We just talked, and she was like, that she works at Target and she doesn't really like it. But I was like, but it keeps you busy, right? And then I created the thought form of that her day-to-day life is mentally stimulating, and that allows her to be more present and more competent in life. And I could see her consciousness extended out and observed the thought form, and then she got the eureka moment, and she was like, oh, yes, it does. That was pretty cool. And then we all got on the dance floor, and I didn't know how to dance. The old black people were trying to teach me their way of doing the fucking shit. I was like, I don't know. I was just standing there enjoying it. And then this lesbian that looked like Young Ma had this really bad girl grinding on her, and I'm like, that doesn't make sense. She's not grinding on anything, but she was just having fun, And it was the Young Ma type was looking over at me like, you wish you could do this, and I was like, I mean, kinda. Bree coming into my chat is the most pathetic thing I've seen in a long time. I know Bender comes in on his alts, but fucking Bree, are you kidding me, dude? Get a life, Bree. Holy shit. Yeah, I blocked you. Bree comes in to tell everyone she's better than them. And then she comes back. You're not as better than us as you think. If you're in my comment section. For me, it's above liquid courage. I get really advantageous when I drink, and I am more sociable. Okay. That usually comes from like narcissistic abuse. Like something happened in high school that made your subconscious feel like it's not okay for you to speak. So that alcohol releases that inhibition. So I would just go through your memories and figure out when exactly did you become afraid to be anything and everything in any current moment. There's no one way life has to be. There's no such thing as normal. As long as you're holding yourself to your own standards, and then you don't go too out there, like you try to also have empathy for other people. There's no real way anything has to go ever. As long as you're happy, you know what I'm saying? As long as you're happy, you have value. If you're depressed and feeling terrible and all that stuff, you still have value, but the things you say, you almost have to be more important for people to accept it, because they'll naturally pick up on the sub communication of where you're coming from. I'll be happy when I'm successful with a huge mansion. I'll tell you what, man, you won't. You won't, man. MGK said he'd rather be. When I met MGK, he said he'd rather be in the woods with his daughter Casey. He hated fame. If you're not happy now, you won't be happy there. And that's like a shit you see when you're scrolling on YouTube Shorts and you see a guy in a suit saying that. It's true. Wherever you go, there you are. You know what I'm saying? If you're not happy now, you won't be happy there. You'd have a jet ski. You'd have people over. but it wouldn't change. And there's also other problems that come with that. The richest man I know killed himself. The richest man I've ever met killed himself because he couldn't find love. Everybody wanted him for his money. He was 60 and he was walking around Shaw's with 20-year-old girls. He shot himself. How do you not be depressed? No stuff, not a job, not a relationship. What's the answer? We got to be warriors. We live in a world where it's illegal to be homeless, and the best way to happiness is homelessness. The best way to true happiness is to be homeless. I mean that. Being out in the woods just by yourself in a tent is the best happiness you can get until you have a family and kids, and then you get periods of happiness, but then you have to like go out and take care of people and stuff. You can kind of build a small town life if you have a successful business that's bringing in enough income for you to live comfortably. There is happiness and fulfillment in that. But as a man, the best happiness does come from the Jeremiah Johnson life, the going out in the woods and hanging out. That is the best happiness that I've ever experienced. And they've made that illegal. And then for some reason, they made people shame people that live like that. Even though that's like literally the American dream. They're like they're like they think that they're American values. They shit on homeless people, but they really like go psychotic when you question their ancestors who did literally that. It's a good movie, man. Jeremiah Johnson's a really good movie. It's from like the 80s, but it's really good. I might watch it again. It's pretty good. It's the meme. You'll find the meme where there's the fat guy with the beard and like the bowl cut, and he looks over and he's like, but how to not be depressed? Um, Honestly, get yourself to that's why I say being out in the woods is you got to get to a point where you have no responsibilities and then you literally just sleep alone. You just sleep by yourself. You rest. Depression, it's kind of corny, but depression means you deep rest. If you're really depressed, you really need deep rest. You just literally lay down and you just lay there for as long as it takes, and eventually you're happy again. Traveling alone has been studied to cause rewiring of the neural circuits and be more effective than any form of psychotherapy. It's backed by research data. Yeah, and also our brains are mushrooms. When you go out in the woods, you do connect to the mycelial network, and the mycelium, it's vicious, it's territorial. It feels like it eats you alive, but you gain it eventually in fighting through that. You gain an on if you honor nature, nature honors you, and it will heal the distortion of your natural frequency. It will heal you. I'm part of the living forest, and the only problem is the crows. The crows do spiritual battle with me every day and rip apart my energy until I can't think and I sound like this. Where naturally I have a deep voice and I would be a sex addict where I like women too much. Now I can't even be and I have to pull it back from the crows and hold it in every day just to be here. It's that Sagittarius in the eighth house. What if you train the crows? I mean, I have videos on my channel where I can make them stop. I do it all the time. If you just go back through my channel, you find a lot of videos of me literally, the crows are barking at me and then I just stop. And then they stop. But it's hard to manage. I haven't really found a way other than punching them in the face. I bet if I punched a crow in the face, it wouldn't yell at me. But no amount of barking at the crows make them stop. But eventually you can hold a barrier, ether bending, No, but then usually you have to go out there and you have to shit right there in the woods, and then you have like this etheric, you have this etheric boundary there. Freemasons build obelisks. That's what they do to stop that type of stuff. They think if they build a big dick, they can spread their energy out and subconsciously rape the minds of everyone who looks at it. That's why they do it. That's why they build giant penis shapes, like the Washington Monument. It's because they think that it's the giant George Washington's giant phallic object will subconsciously rape your spirit. It's literally what they believe. Swamp Rat. Let me see how long you've had this channel. A year ago? Okay, I believe you. I get a lot of trolls. Assuming you're not a troll. He lives in the swamps by himself, probably in Florida. Playing on this phone. Is it in Florida? You're in the bayou? Just fishing? Catfishing in the swamps? Is it the ravens that are trainable? No, you can train crows. Like, crows learn to, I think crows, the Vikings thought crows were like their god helping them win in battle. I think the crows, and then the Irish thought that it was an omen from the goddess Morrigan that war was coming. I think that the crows just learned that the Vikings are nut jobs, and if you lead the Vikings will follow you. If you lead the Vikings to the people, they will kill the people, and then the crows can eat the corpses. Southeast Georgia swamplands, and at 64, it's not. I don't like being in places where I can't get to mountains. Like Vermont's got some swamps, some cool areas like outside of Lake Champlain and like where the river goes through. But in Vermont, I can just drive to a mount. Like every turn, it's a whole different amazing view. It's expensive. It's hard to live here, but I don't know if I could live somewhere where it's just flat everywhere or it's the same type of scenery everywhere, where it's just different versions of the trees is the tallest point. Like I just don't want to be in a place where there's not a lot of mountains, but I know that things are better in the South. People tend to be cooler, more intelligent. Everybody's kind of Facebook addicted and crazy from a lack of social conditioning out here. Like everybody's got like there's some people in rural Vermont that they've got like the blue line police flag tattoo, and then another like kind of pseudo white supremacist thing. Like they tattoo what Facebook tells them white people like, and I don't think they even believe it. It's just they've been on Facebook so long it got them. Our brain is a mushroom. Yeah, I mean look at like chaga and mushrooms that grow on trees, and then look at a brain. VT is Appalachian, right? Yeah, the Appalachian Mountains. They used back in the day before Pangea broke apart. It was a part of Ireland and Scotland. We used to be connected to Ireland and Scotland back in the day. So it's cool that Appalachia became basically New Ireland. Like bluegrass and skedaddling and all that. That's African, Irish, and Native music. Irish melodies with Native harmonies over African rhythm. I'm so sick of white supremacy. I'll never understand how people end up like that. It's a long, long, long time ago, people discovered that there's a pattern to creation, and it's thematic, and it changes the electromagnetic spectrum in a way that we are influenced by the spiritual ecosystem of like plant astrology, and like the Hunger Games season 2, where like book 2, where they're in this arena and the arena changes as time goes by. So they knew the pattern and they knew the symbolism behind it. They knew kind of basically the foundation of what we're living in, and they've the same way that I predict that next year the colors will be bright, bright. It'll be like nature scenes, but with this bright orange light on it. And there will be bits and pieces of bright blue. And I said that this year was going to be green and red. Last year was going to be yellow skies and brown and maroon. The year before, I said it was going to be deep gray and red. And then if you look at all the albums that popped off and what artists, like the biggest artists, chose to color their albums, I don't know what the fuck that was. I don't know what the fuck that was. Sounded like a machine gun. Maybe it was firecrackers, but I've never heard a noise like that. Uh, they knew that we would be in the age of Pisces, so they knew that we were going to be separated by the dark waters. Telepathy go away. They didn't really get a lot of telepathy back then. It was more self-centered in the age of Aries, but they knew that it was going to move to the age of Pisces, where people would be gathering in schools of fish to debate belief systems and dream about a better tomorrow. And we would be separated by the dark waters. So they created religion to control that. So they created 3 separate religions: Judaism, Christianity, and Islam. But if you look foundationally, the Christian cross folded up as a black box. Mecca, that Islam's worship, is a black box inside of a bigger black box. And the Star of David has that 3D optical illusion of a cube. That's all the rings of Saturn, or the hexagonal storm on top of Saturn. That's the all-seeing eye that the Federal Reserve worships. It's Saturn worship. That's why in Interstellar you have to go through the black hole next to Saturn, and then eventually you meet the 5D beings, and you become your own guardian angel when you transcend time. That's like 33rd degree Freemasonry, all that. So part of that was like they needed to push their agenda. They needed a workforce. They understood from ancient history, like Thoth and Enlil and all those people that said 200,000 years ago, people came down, these gods and kings, and influenced humanity, and said that no man from my seed will live longer than 120 cycles. And we found that around 200,000 years ago, when these ancient texts tell you that humanity's genetics were altered by some higher or greater force, you can see that there we some unnatural installation of telomere caps that make us age, so that we literally can't live longer than 120. But before that, you can see evidence of history and these ancient civilizations saying that kings lived to be 10,000 or 15,000, ridiculous ages, before these telomere caps. So it's pretty debated on what actually happened in the past 2,000 years, but we're pretty sure that, one of the biggest kept secrets is the Moore family and their influence on Ireland, which was like a sophisticated African culture. We know about mystery schools. We know that there were schools that were teaching people telepathy and levitation and these crazy stuff that they say, like many, many different people, like credible sources that were uncovered in archaeology, were speaking about these ancient mystery schools. People think Jesus went to those mystery schools when he was gone for those 10 years. He traveled around looking for answers and like met with these schools and everything. What Europeans won't tell us that those civilized African cultures had a big influence on European upbringing, teaching them stuff like, you know, Muslims would bathe 5 times a day, yet Europeans were dying from plagues because they were just shitting on the ground outside in the street, just shitting right on the street. So there's a lot of evidence, like especially in Ireland, that the Moore family was like this really, really wealthy African hierarchy or government that was going up to into Europe and helping with this different stuff and building architecture and teaching people that like white people had come from the mountains and were kind of a, you know, they hadn't entered. They say that you can find in Canada, they've dug up, you can just find it. Archaeologists have found that Native Americans were using these really nice metal spears, metal fish hooks, steel work, like industrial grade stuff. It was found here from a long time ago. Whatever was here, because we know that natives have genetics that have been present in bones for 200,000 years. So around the same time that they said that the people came down and influenced us, people have been on North America. And that whatever the remnants of that is still in Native Americans to this day, regardless of the 30,000 years of Asians traveling over the land bridge or Africans coming to Haiti and to South America, like the Olmecs and all this stuff. There were people here for 200,000 years, and those people's DNA is still here. And we found that they had tools. They had metal tools. They had metal work. They were already well past the Stone Age and the Iron Age and the Bronze Age. They were doing stuff here. They had nice swords that were made really well that they've dug up in Canada. I think that people that base their whole society off of control and manipulation of belief systems in the age of Pisces to pseudo Saturn worship after it was written off as bad, they changed it so that it's the same thing, but with like this lie that it's good. Like Satanism is that you think you do things for bad entities and then you get real estate and authority in a lower realm. Catholicism is the same thing, where it's not biblical to say that there's a saint that is on the right hand of God. But Satanists believe that you can be close to Lucifer if you do the rituals and like help them with their influence. Catholicism is literally the same thing, but just saying that it's God. I think that a lot of when people talk about white supremacy and white people stuff, it's just millennia long ancient secret society weaponizing through propaganda and programming of those people. So there's a lot of stuff because we know that epigenetics stores memory. DNA has memory. The traumas that your family experienced translate epigenetically. It comes down through the generations. So you'll find like a lot of stuff they won't tell you about family lineage and family trees that natives talk about with like connections to your ancestors and all this stuff. I think it's just a lot of programming over a long time that's made them like that. White supremacists will tell you that white people genetically have a better IQ and that those other people are just extremely dumb. And that's why their IQ points are 30 IQ points lower than like Somalians have the most IQ supposedly. But we found evidence that if you bring education to those places, if you bring education to those places where they say they're genetically predisposed to be retarded, and that's why white people are better than them. When you bring education to those places, their IQ is no different than people that were born and raised in America, multi-gen families. You take the education system, you take it all the way out to those places, and you educate the people. They're no different. There's no genetic difference in intellect. No, I said Somalians, according to studies, were supposedly had the lowest IQ out of everybody. But when you brought education to them, they became completely the same. our brains are only bound to the what we're programmed to do. White people invented education. No, the the metrics for education that they did was invented by Arabs. Hold on, my who's Blind Zach? Oh, I got invited to an astrology reading by some guy named Blind Zach. But yeah, that's true. Is that and what that's evidence of is it's called systemic oppression, which is that the only reason that those places seem like third world countries is that you can find that civilized countries for a long time have been systematically preventing those people from accessing that education. And now that the world has gotten better, we've been providing that education for them, and they've shown to be know that they get to the same levels, same genius, same all this stuff. So we have genetic memory, but intelligence isn't it? I think that the way that the infinite coalesces in your body is influenced by your ancestors' decisions. I think that the song that your soul plays, the harmonies and the frequencies of that, the way that the infinite coalesces in your body, is influenced by epigenetics. I think that when there's a piece of shit cop, my grandfather he comes through and is pissed and it's powerful because my grandfather used to train cops in Bronx. I have dreams where my native ancestors come to me and tell me that I've passed the test and that they're giving me a reward and that, or an award and something to a gift, and then I walk down the street the next day and then I feel it again, my native ancestors, and then I feel pulled to this box and it's a free box and I open it and there's a dream catcher inside. So yes, I do think that your ancestry does have a level of influence, but I don't think that you can pray them into becoming the right at God's shoulder or whatever Catholics say. I don't think that sainthood is the way that they make it out to be. The genetic contribution by anyone in your line more than 5 generations back is no longer identifiable. I don't think that's true. I think it's like Avatar. The way that Avatar has the past lives in Avatar: The Last Airbender, I think that's your. I think we have those moments with our lineage. I think that if in the future, if you're able to tune in with your ancestors the way the natives do with the sacred teachings, I think it would start creating a change in your epigenetics. I literally I lived with black people for 6 months, and I was light skinned for like 6 months through the whole winter in 2022. Like I was just sleeping with black women, and I was hanging around black people, and my skin was light skin. I'm more out in the sun than I was then, and my skin doesn't get as dark as I was when I was living around black people. But I'm an empath. Like I just started playing the same song that they were playing, and it literally made a change in my epigenetics like that. The trees, the different when you're around different trees, it changes the shape of your face. I just don't think that it's the way the Catholics say it is. Science is always expanding too. So I I think we'll find once they start to admit their ability to measure the electromagnetic spectrum and the Higgs field around us, and they get into a deeper level of understanding of string theory and how all of that is interplaying with connection to nature and animals connecting to each other. Like we have the 100 monkeys. Do you know about the 100 monkeys theory or the 100 monkeys test? It was that there were two monkeys on separate islands, the same species of monkey, but they couldn't talk to each other. And they were watching both of those islands full of monkeys. One monkey eventually learned a better way. He learned how to clean his food a better way. And then without showing any of the monkeys, all of the monkeys began doing it on that island. They all picked up the same thing that that monkey learned. And all the monkeys on the other island, without communicating with these monkeys, began doing it as well. When one monkey learned something, a better skill, all those monkeys across two islands learned the same skill. When we get into quantum entanglement and string theory and connections and electromagnetic simulation and all this stuff with how we are like routers with data, start to admit there are things like extra high greater intelligences and lower intelligence, the stuff that Alex Jones talked about on Joe Rogan when he went crazy as an Aquarius 11. It's not the simulation got updated, their personal software got updated, and they were in the cloud of those monkeys. There was like a cloud, and then it got updated for all of the different, like when Grok gets an update and you can download the update on your phone. But it's not like everything got updated, but it is technically that everything did get updated because everything is connected. We're all one organism. That's the secret that weed helps me figure out sometimes, is that we are all God experiencing life through different stories. That's how I can find your purpose in life through your birthdays, is because you are God, but you're in a finite experience. So if that were true, then yeah, your birthday matters. Maybe they just learned it at the same time in parallel. No, sure they did. You can go look at the 100 monkeys here. Is your profile picture literally a monkey? Or is that now? Everything that we historically couldn't explain has been found to have naturalistic causes. Explain the Big Bang Theory. How did the universe get created? Science is like understanding the natural order of things and make it like, but you have to accept one miracle. Nobody has the answer to the Big Bang Theory. We believe it's a singularity. It all started from one thing and then expanded. We know that the space in between everything is expanding and it's getting the further away from us, the faster it's expanding, which shows that it probably was much closer together at one point till it got to a singularity. But they don't know why. Bro, you're just going in circles. Why does there need to be an answer to it? Because your argument is that there's a naturalistic answer to everything. That's what I was saying, is that you have to, if you say that everything has a natural reason, that it's not magic, you have to tell me how the universe got created, and then you have to explain to me how the Bible starts with the Big Bang Theory. That God said, "Let there be light," and then wow, 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 and before that, there was nothing. How did they know? Before Galileo invented the telescope, and then they killed the Catholic Church killed a lot of astronomers because they were proposing the idea that the Earth might not be the center of the universe. The Big Bang is explained. No, the Big Bang is theorized. It's not explained. It's a theory. It's not fact. It's not something you can test and experiment on. Science does not accept the Big Bang theory. They just don't have a better alternative right now. It's not really explained. It's a theory. The same way that I say, I guess I could run a test on the crows. But I have shown you experiments. I have literally shown you that my inner energy and my decisions with spirit influences crow behavior without me having to make a noise. That I unmoving, I can make the crows start and stop cawing to show you the spiritual experience that I'm living inside. I can show you my understanding of the electromagnetic spectrum and the Higgs field and quantum mechanics and spirit and emotion and creativity and all this great stuff that you naturally understand but won't accept. Which is literally, I think that's how Paul starts in Romans, is literally what I just said there. I think that's Paul's first address to the people. I can show you that with that, from what I've learned being out here for a decade, that I'm able to be a part of it more. And I've shown lots of evidence of that. But it is still a theory because I don't have it down to the science yet. I would have to invent a machine that can harness electromagnetic energy, and then I would have to play. There's a lot of work that goes into it. Because I don't have the. I mean, I could go to the. I'd probably just get. I think I'd be touching territory that would make the government antsy, and they wouldn't want me to do it. I know I could go to an Ivy League college to the science department and show them the videos of me influencing crow behavior with my spirit, and it's enough evidence to intrigue them. But in order to do that, we would have to have a device that can measure changes in my whatever type of energy that is. There's millions of pictures of Earth. It's a freaking until I go up there, I don't know what it is. It's just as likely that this is an ant farm. This could be an ant farm, man. Who's to say that it's not? Like, what if it's a sphere, but it's a flat plane, there's rock under it, and then there's a dome over it, like a Pokeball. So, like, below my nose is rock, and above my nose is what we see the Earth as. So we see it looks flat to us, but in order to be orbiting, it's a sphere. Because we know the moon is artificial. We know the way the moon is put, and the way the moon is either. So we know that following the golden ratio, you can find the size of the moon relative to the Earth. You can find the distance of the moon relative to the Earth just by following the golden ratio. And you can also find the distance of the Earth to the moon. If it's a flat plane or it's a sphere, you can still find the size of that from the pyramids. And the practice, by the way. And we found that there's like sophisticated metalwork being uncovered in North America from indigenous tribes. They were well beyond the Iron Age when Europeans were first figuring out how to do it. So I think that they went to Africa and built that in Africa, but originally I think that America is Egypt. Good evidence of that. Memphis is a city in Egypt. I think it's in the Bible as well. Memphis, Tennessee was named after that thing in Egypt. There's a lake in Vermont, and the mountains look eerily like pyramids, and it's called Lake Memphremagog. If there was a flood, it would have covered everything in dirt, and then trees would have grown on top of it. A lot of these mountains look like pyramids nestled in. Like there was probably a lot of ancient stone stuff that we just haven't figured out because nobody does it here. There's nobody out here. Anything out here? And the mountains that look like pyramids, you're not allowed to go on. You're literally not allowed to go there. You can't hike up it. It's private property. You can't do it. There are forbidden places in Vermont that look eerily like probably have ancient stuff under it, and they just don't want to say it because nobody wants to give the land back to the natives. Nobody wants to acknowledge anything that has to do with rightful ownership and anything that might contradict Freemasonic propaganda to weaponize and program white people to accumulate resources and rape the world. I think they staged Pearl Harbor so that they could bomb Japan to prevent nuclear war in the future, destroy a large portion of the Japanese gene pool, set them back. Which was a prerequisite to the Gulf of Tonkin, where the United States bombed itself and then blamed Vietnam for bombing it, so that we went to war with Vietnam. We literally went to Vietnam for no reason. We bombed ourselves and then went to war with Vietnam, and nobody really knows why. Other than ethnic cleansing, purposefully setting them back while they accumulated more resources so that Israel could sneak in and start buying things. Yeah, I heard about Tartarian, the mud flood, and that there people are digging in under sewers in Chicago and finding that there's massive structures underneath it, like it was just covered over with like a bunch of metal and then built over. And then a lot of those like big buildings out there that are like really architecturally beautiful that are just surrounded by shitty brick buildings are actually just the top of massive structures underneath. I think it's really weird that it might be in South America, those massive stone temples and stone cities that people can't they hype it, but they can't really figure out exactly how they made it so perfect. We found that in like a molecular level, when you do something to liquefy, I think it's graphite, and then you do something to it, the graphite forms exactly like the stone architecture out there. And I forgot maybe it's fuse stones, fuselage stone. I'm not sure. There's these tiny little stones inside the stonework that they found that the reason that earthquakes just rip right through brick buildings and destroy them, but earthquakes, even though those stone temples are right in between two massive fault lines where earthquakes happen all the time, and those stone temples and cities were never affected, was because they had these tiny little stones, and that they did irregularities to asymmetrical building with the stone so that when the power goes, like the earthquake power goes through those lines in between the stones, it's not bricks that are uniform and symmetrical where it just shoots right up through the cement in between the bricks. Instead, it travels through the whole building, but it it go it mainly the power all goes right into these tiny little stones in these really well designed, perfect, almost um big boulders. There's these tiny little rocks that when the earthquakes happen, it explodes, and then you just put another one in there so that when the next earthquake happens, it explodes again, like pressure points that absorb all the force. And you found the same exact way that those stones are made. You can recreate the exact way that those stones are made through some chemical equations with graphite. You can make it exactly the same. Like it looks identical, and it even has those tiny little stones, which implies that they melted stone a certain way to make it where instead of hauling these massive boulders, these massive like 50-ton rocks, instead of that, they did something to the stones that melted them, transported them, did it again, and then the stones formed there. But they just haven't figured out how they did that, but they know that that's most likely what they did. Was that they turned the stones into liquid somehow so that it would naturally form to that way. And all that is evidence that, look what we did in 100 years. We went from, in 250 years, we went from muskets to AI to like space travel, actual space travel, like feasible space travel, not just like all the astronauts that were involved with the moon landing say that the moon, it's full of shit. It was a Hollywood production. But now we can get there. Or at least they're saying we can. Actually, they're saying we can't. But we were able to, but now we can't, even though we have more resources, better technology. So I think they're all full of shit. But we still have incredible other technological feats like bullet trains. Unless it's with the 100 monkeys theory, I can accept that humanity did evolve, and now we're at the point where we've evolved. But I think that the fact that the pyramids are way ahead of us, I can almost guarantee you that we've been through like at least 10 utopias that fell, or they went to space, or they fucked up somehow and became the gray aliens, or they transcended and became the star people, or they're like we're made in God's image. God's depicted it, the angels are depicted a certain type of way. With the tabernacle and the monstrance, you can look, which is made out of Casey wood, by the you can you can see that the way that light shines through the atmosphere to us looks like the shape of a cookie cutter angel or a cross. So if we were to evolve from the sun's rays, if the light was stimulating us to grow the way that all life kind of does, we would naturally evolve into that shape. And that's what trees look like. That's what people look like. Silhouettes of people look like the cookie cutter shape of an angel. Dolphin skeletons look like that. So it's pretty feasible for me to think that there were, a lot of maps. There's some maps back in the day that say that there was these lands that had people with dog heads. Egyptians worshipped cat people. I've seen praying mantises that are 10 feet tall out in the woods on a. I've seen a lot of other people saying that they see praying mantises like I see. Praying mantises look like that shape. They follow the same shape, like they evolved to the light. If you just leave species on Earth long enough, bears look like, when bears sit up, they follow the same shape. Dogs, whales, meerkats, birds. Mushrooms. Everything begins to look like the shape the sun's rays hit us with. Maybe scientists just don't want to tell us that there was an evolved dog species, and the dogs that got left behind as wolves were the same way that monkeys would be to us. Maybe evolution is true, but we're not the we're just the current evolved species. Like maybe they don't want to tell us what they know about pyramids and ancient civilizations and mud flood and Tartary and all this because they're scared to tell us that those people had dog heads. Those people were an evolved canine the way that we're an evolved sapien. There were Homo canines walking around. Wouldn't it be crazy if North America was bird people and praying mantis people? Australia and South Africa was dog people. Central and Northern Africa was lizard people, reptilians, and cat people. North America was tall Nordics. Asia was the Greys. And they implanted their stuff into a early version of human across the lands, and then just through us intermingling for hundreds of thousands of years, those traits all mixed together. Like they supplanted their DNA into species and then let it grow to build the perfect alien hybrids. Instead of having a war out there, the war is the influence on us, like the Hunger Games with the sponsors, and that our souls are given this vessel, this responsibility, and this trajectory in life journey to evolve the collective into perfection. I don't know. That's just a theory, a life theory. Well, I just saw two floating eyes come from outside in the woods and project itself into the space, and it was like the size of a small gray, and it said that's not the case. So we're not human alien. I mean, I've literally gone. I went the other night. I went out and said, "Are you aliens? Right? Can I get right to left shooting star?" Then a UFO shone a light that I can't describe other than kindness, and then slowly, like a brush stroke of a paintbrush, wiped it across just a little bit of the sky. And then 2 days later, I went back out and I said, "Are you still there?" And then it formed again, and then flew right above my head and then disappeared. I get last year in the summer, I went, "Are you guys still up there?" And then two UFOs formed the same light kindness. Wow, and then they both flew over my head, and then when they got above my head, they disappeared. I've asked to see aliens, and then a dense fog went over Lake Champlain, and then I felt pulled where my body just got up almost involuntarily and just walked out onto the dock, and then I looked up, and then a big circle out the fog cleared in this perfect circle above me, and I felt a pull upward, and I went, "Nope, I'm not doing it. Show yourself a different way." I literally said, "Peer your head out from behind a tree." I'm remembering, and then and wave, and then you can see next year in 2024 and 2025, I was talking about the live stream where I just kept seeing the light beings fucking peer their head out from behind and wave, but I had just forgotten until now that I had done that. that I literally told them to do that, and they've been doing that. And now I feel a really bad cold chill coming from where those eyes were. Like the whole left side of my body's really cold. You're I know the Irish say that they fought aliens, and the Jews say they fucked aliens. Native Americans see a lot of shit. Native Americans have the craziest spiritual experiences out of everybody. I went live because somebody asked me to go live. Does anybody want a life path reading? Oh, I can actually see what Angel looks like. I hope I didn't scare her away with my craziness. She do look kind of bad though. Like a sexy Voldemort. Post your birthday. I'll do a reading for you. Somehow these mosquitoes are getting in. They sneak in and hide and wait. This Taurus, right off the bat, you have a higher level of responsibility, and you experience the world from a more emotionally complex space where information is more dense to you. You experience it more vividly. But instead of being like bright emotional colors, it's a more piercing energy. But most people don't have that experience that you have. You're right on the cusp between competition and laziness. The super competitive necessity to do things and the idea that nature grows slow. Six, 7, 16, 23, 31. You're a 4. I get a lot of Aries 4s, Leo 4s. 4 life path means that what you did brought order to your community. You were able to organize things and be there for others to make sure it doesn't devolve into. The problem with that is that you can take life way too seriously, and you often get in your own way and you impose on other people in a way that makes them feel uncomfortable. Like your 4s have a problem where they pull all the energy to themselves, and then everyone else feels like they can't exist, like they're just not even there, especially like people that are traumatized around Leo 4s. Leos will kind of, they know what they're doing, but they won't acknowledge it. That they absorb all the love in the room through their ego and then try to make everything their way. And Aries 4 energy, especially with the 20 making it more emotionally complex, what to look out for is that you have this natural ability to pull the energy to your crown chakra and assert yourself. And you need to learn a way to let that go and grow a healthier way of doing that that doesn't intrude and impose on the status quo, or else everyone will be trying to fight you all the time and trying to, like, everyone tries to belittle you and hurt you and all this because you're accidentally narcissistically pulling all the power to yourself. The problem with those types of energies is that they have to learn self-love and self-confidence that has nothing to do with anyone else. You need to live an independent life that doesn't need anything from the external, or else you'll be pulling all the external towards yourself. If you can find that self-love and independence, you find that you can be a great contribution to people that need somebody that can manage things and build things and do things. That 20 energy, though, it's pink, not in like a feminine, girly way, but pink like the sunrise. It just means that you experience information at a greater depth, a greater complexity there. So music and life and conversations and all this, it's bigger for you. It's more complex. The way the thought form, you have more to play with out there, and in your spirit. I would assume that the way life comes at you, it's evident of a responsibility. You have a big responsibility. You're probably in a position of leadership where the people around you need your input to make sure that the system runs and keep things orderly. Like if you worked at a ski resort, you would be like the head of the maintenance crew, and your life would be making, like, you would be seeing the way that the whole resort functions, and you would be the guy that ensures that everything is going according to plan, and you would live at the top, at like almost at the top, not the, like where the last lodge is that goes to the highest point of the mountain. You would be right, you would kind of stay right around there. He's like 33 degrees into Taurus. Yes, patronizing you up here right now, yet they still think I'm the enemy. You gotta live independently. It needs to have nothing to do with anybody else. You can't need anything from anyone, or else you're accidentally roping them into an accidental narcissist to empath relationship, because you're trying to get yourself to the same power that you feel like you deserve, and that comes from independency and self help and growth over consistency and letting things go and just letting things be as they are, not trying to meticulously control everything. It's got to be simpler, and you got to be more grateful and present to the moment, and then you'll find that you'll naturally have the abilities to fulfill that role, and then the respect and the stuff that you're looking for, you won't need it, but you will obtain it accidentally. Stuff with like Aries and Leo and Virgo and Sagittarius and Capricorn and Aquarius, um maybe Pisces as well, like maybe just Scorpio to Pisces, and Leo and Aries as well, really need to anything that they're looking for from anyone else, you need to be that for yourself, almost as if you are your own best friend, you are your own mentor, you are your own audience. The 20 and the 11, those complex energies like that, you need to become the audience as well. And it can't have anything to do with anyone outside of you, because then they would be poisoning your rich depth of information. That self-love, you have to be all of that for yourself. People with 20 and 11 energies live like a symphony. It's not just their identity is a symphony. You need to be all the different interlocking parts, and then that symphony is what you share with the world there. I feel you, man. I'm so overwhelmed by possibility and chasing perfection. I struggle to do. I've been trying to haul these things across this hundred. I've been trying to move these piles of wood 100 feet for a month because I try, and then the crows get triggered by my energy, and then they hit me in a bunch of places, and then I'm just disharmonized, and I can't think and I can't function, and then my brain just can't work right because I need this harmony to function. The symphony, if it's playing the wrong notes and some other music is butting in, I can't. I lock up and freeze and I can't do anything. Or if I can't figure out the perfect thing to do and I have all these possibilities, I just get stuck entertaining all these ideas and putting it into perfection and trying to do the perfect thing. And you can't be around other people. You can't talk to people when you're like that. So I've channeled it into a creative hobby. That's what I would do. Like I'm at $250 right now. I'm trying to get to I think it's like $400 for a Milwaukee cordless framing nailer. And then I'm trying to build a shed. But tomorrow, if this guy answers me on Marketplace, which I think he did, somebody's selling a DeWalt framing nailer for $50, but doesn't come with a charger. Comes with a battery. I don't know if it works. I'm waiting for him to respond and then see if that works. Then I'll have to spend like $20 for the ferry to get across Lake Champlain, $50 to buy it, and then I have to come back and for $50 I'm buying a firewood shed. So that instead of building a shed right now, I have access to this huge firewood shed. And because the owner doesn't come here in the winter, he doesn't need that fire shed anymore. I'm going to move it into a small fire shed. And then that big fire shed, I'm going to move back and then turn into a storage shed. Set up my plywood, put siding around the side, move it back like 20 or maybe 8 feet back so that there's some space in the front. And then that's going to be where I store all the stuff. And I'm going to build doors and lock it up. But I'm trying to get the framing nailer too. I had a job landscaping, but she's not very good at communication. But she had a hard life. She's had brain injuries and she's had violence and abuse and traveling homeless and hopping city to city to city. I don't know if she's a compulsive liar, but the first thing she opened with is that she was hanging out with the guy from the new singer of Smash Mouth, and she was like showing him around Vermont, and her boyfriend was really mad at her about that. I don't know if that's true. I don't know if all that stuff she said was really happening because I was just talking about my life, and then she would always try to one up me with her thing. I don't know how city people operate, but when I asked her, she didn't answer me, and then she told me to send me my Cash App to pay me. So I did, and then I also said if you need whenever you need work, let me know. I might not. I'm 2 hours away from you, but I like driving and I don't mind. I like working. So, if you tell me to show up at 9, it might be between 9 and 10. Um, because of the drive, I don't know with traffic, but once I'm there until you're done. And you saw me even with 2 hours of sleep. I worked 7 hours nonstop, just going digging like heavy, hard labor too. And I went for 7 hours without stopping. So I'm a good worker. So I said, when I get there might not always be consistent. But she also has other people. She has this thing where she has like 20 people in a group chat. So she just says what job she needs help with, and then people come to it, and she pays them. She hasn't put me in the group chat, and she sent me the devil. I was wearing this Christian shirt that says Jesus has my back. So she sent me the devil horn emoji when she paid me. So I don't know what that means because she hasn't answered me about whether she needs me for work or not. What the fuck's real? I have a DeWalt charger. I could ship it, but dude, save for the Milwaukee. I, if not that, I have no source of income other than YouTube. This month I made $8.75 from revenue from ads, and then the rest is just I have my donation links. So I'm kind of an e-beggar, but I only ask after I do, like if I do 5 or 6 life path readings, then I'll throw in, oh, by the way, I have my PayPal, Venmo, Cash App, and I'm saving for a Milwaukee framing nailer. Before that, I was saving for. I've been trying to get the car paid off, but I got a lead about a farm that needs help that helped somebody I talked to at the gas station. They helped her son get into CDL school so that he could be the CDL driver for that farm, and they said they really take care of people. And there's also, I think they have housing at the farm too, and it's only like 10 miles away. So I might be trying to get involved with that, milking cows and shit. Wait, are you the readings guy? Yeah, I do life path readings. Which god? The one that made everything else. The one that made and also is everything else. I also ran out of vapes. If I don't if I don't get vapes, I'll probably fall into psychosis because I'm serotonin deficient and I'll get pretty irritable. So I'll start yelling at the crows and shit and getting really mad at what people had disrespected me that I can't let go of in public, like with the people IRL, what I mean. I will get you money tomorrow. I just gotta sell a few things. Oh, you don't have to do. If you don't have it, don't spend it, man. But there's a millionaire that watches me pretty often. A multi-millionaire. I wish he would fucking send me $45,000 every time I say it. I save more money. I did. I reached out to Cinna and I sent her the YouTube and I said, "Hey, I'm trying to get this $1 million property. It's 330 acres in the mountains of Vermont. 1/5 of the Vermont homeless population is under 18. So, and that's just in Burlington. So there's 4,000 homeless people. What's a fifth of 4,000? A fourth of 4,000 is 1,000. What goes into 25 times? 4. No. What goes into 25 times? 4 times 5 is 20. That doesn't make sense. I guess 1/5 would be 400. 1/5 of 4,000. I'm wrong. It's 800. So there are 800 people that are under 18 that are homeless right now on the street in a city full of 40,000 people. If I could just build 10 tiny sheds across this 300 acres, I could do 10 at a time. Where they show up, they have a gym. So it's a tiny shed. The tiny shed has a bench press, a squat rack, and a pull up and dip bar. It has a shower, and you can get phone service there. And then all I ask is that you could either help me build tiny sheds and sell the tiny sheds. You could help me take care of the horses and the dogs and the chickens and the goats. You could help me make soap. You could help me make clothes, screen printing, and you could get paid for that based on commission. So if you can sell one, you get if you make it and it sells, you get a percentage, but if you make it and you sell it, so you find a buyer and you sell it to that buyer, you get the majority of that commission. I just ask for cost plus 2 hours of my work, and you get the rest. And then we'd go out and do landscaping, and in your tiny shed, um, in the kid program tiny shed, there's like the same thing where you can accumulate materials for a garden, and you can build your own garden section. And then when you leave, I'll have a hauler. So when you finally get your own place, you can come back and we'll haul everything that you accumulated to your place so that you can, and I might even just give you the shed. So when everything's all set and you have your own land, we pick up everything and take it out. And then when you come back, maybe it would be that the kids and I build their own house, where I teach them how to build a tiny shed and install a solar setup and install a shower. That'd be kind of what I'm trying to do. But there's also it would be a homeless program as well on a set. I'd like to turn this property and I'd call it Salvation, and it would be based on Christianity and getting a connection with God. And then there would be a place for specifically like dreamers that have like dreams that want to do things in life, but we're like me, where we're just begging for an opportunity to get a computer to make my albums and my TV shows. It would be so this would be Salvation. The other one would be called Ambition, and then the main thing could be the Kingdom of Creative Champions, or it could be Acacia's Grace Sanctuary, or just call it Casey, and it would be like a city. I wish I could change the name of the state from Vermont to Acacia. Like if I had my own state, I'd call it Acacia. I think like the same way that kid that knew he was a man who owned a store in a past life, and he remembered his wife and his kids and his name and her name, and he knew who killed him, and they found the murderer through the reincarnated soul of that person as a boy. Um, I think I know for a fact I was running through the woods killing people. I know for a fact I was sitting in this huge place of power, and there was a lot of people I needed to manage and keep this ancient city running. It could have been an Irish castle, because or maybe it was just like the back rooms where it's like time, or Interstellar, where time is going both ways. Maybe I'm seeing what I become when I eventually have that place. but I've always felt like I was a king of some kind, and not like I'm the king like Julius Caesar, like I'm the emperor and you all need to worship me. It was less glory, more hard times with raiders and trying to keep everything going and keep everybody happy. Like people would come to me for help and I'd have to figure out how to help them. And that it wasn't like a narcissistic king, more of like a benevolent king, a humble one. But I've always had that, like since I was a kid. I've always felt that way. Like when I was born, I was like I was bossing my family around. You need to do this. You need to fix the cabins up so that we can do a motel program. And I used to run experiments. I was a scientist at birth. I would put tons of different stuff, the same way what I do now when I make songs. When I'm just blending everything that I've experienced in life into art. I used to just take a bunch of shit in the kitchen and out in the dirt outside and slugs and shit, and I would just stuff it all into jars, and then I would put the jars in the fridge, and then I would just look over time to see what happened to it. I've been like experimenting. I would literally I don't know where I heard that, because how I was through. I can vividly remember I was 4 years old, and I called it experiments. I was running experiments. I would literally call them experiments. I don't know who told me experiments. I don't know how experiments got into my vocabulary, but I was literally calling it experiments. I was going outside, gathering samples of different things, and I was putting them in jars and then monitoring the change in them over time. Potion. Hey, Bot Central. How the Truman Show? You joined the social experiment? It can be fun sometimes. Like the people in the lolcow community were all shit talking me about how I talk about the crows barking at me all day. And then one of the live streams that hate watchers were watching, the guy, as soon as he clicked onto the live stream, the guy they were hate watching said, "I wish I could be a crow to these trolls." And then the guy doing the hate watch stream, he got the fuck out of that live stream because he was like, "Fuck!" It's because every time he went on the live stream, and I would go to the people, the guy they were hate watching or restreaming, I would go to their chat and I'd start talking, and then people named Brian would show up. People named one time it was a guy named Casey Rocks, joined was like commenting, and it was just the people with the Casey names were all in those comment sections defending the guy that they were kind of bullying, I guess, the e-beggar. The people defend like, and then that was pretty cool. And then I got the ingenious idea to call them the lol crows because they are. They're just like the crows, just barking at everybody, trying to eat kittens and shit. Your mom's lame. My friend does that. Heaps of shacks in communal area, and they help clean up and keep it tidy. That'd be pretty cool. I might do that. I just don't know how I'm gonna get 1 million. What the black community is trying to do right now is find some form of solidarity because I think they said there's 68 million black people in America, and if everybody just donated $1 a month, that's like 700 million a year that they would invest into building universities and schools and homesteads and buying land together. I don't see why we can't do that. There's 1,500. I have 1,500 subscribers. If everybody sent me $100 a month for 2 months, I'd have $300,000. If you get 1.4 million from this grant, you won't send me anything. You'll just teach me how to do it. But that's better than nothing. My whole life would change if I had 3 grand. 3 grand would fix every single problem I have right now. All of my problems would go away, and I would be on the fast track to do great things if I had 3 grand. But I'm a felon, and I can't find work. With landscaping, she was paying me 25 an hour for that job. That's $200 every 8-hour shift. So I just have to work 10 days. And I'd have 2 grand. Pay the car off, fix everything on the car. A month of working, and I'm set. 2 months of working, and I can go to Hawaii and come back in the spring. But now she's suddenly not answering me. I'm not going to blow her phone up. I don't want to be disrespectful. But I'm going to wait like a couple weeks and hit her back and say, "Hey." Or maybe tomorrow when I go to pick up, I'll say, "Hey, I have to pass by in for a few hours and do some hard labor. Make your job go faster so that you can hit more job sites," because she makes it in just one day of work. 200. She paid us all $200. So she's probably making a ridiculous amount of money, man. I didn't know landscaper. I mean, she has high ticket clients. I don't know if landscaper. I don't know how much money landscapers actually make. To be a landscaper, I would need a truck, I would need a trailer, I would need an industrial lawnmower, and I would need a section for all my tools like a brush cutter, a hedge trimmer, soil knives, trowels. And then I could do it, and I'd be good at it. I enjoy the work. I don't like talking to the clients. I don't like negotiating prices. I don't like people trying to take advantage of me and stiff me. I don't like doing taxes. So if I could find somebody that likes doing that stuff but doesn't like the manual labor, we'd be golden. And the Word was God. The same was in the beginning with God. All things were made by him, and without him was not anything made that was made. What? Hold on. All things were made by him, and without him was not anything made that was made. Okay, I get it. In him was life, and the life was the light of men. And the light shineth in the darkness, and the darkness comprehended it not. There was a man sent from God whose name was John. What is it now? The same came for a witness, to bear witness of the light, that all men through him might believe. The Bible hits a lot harder when you realize that it's a man writing it, and it's not like that John actually wrote that. Good Emperor, pick me. I know I sound crazy, but I'm really on the same page as you. I
be made manifest to Israel. Therefore, I come baptizing with water, and John bear record by saying, and I knew him not. I was looking upon Jesus. He walked, and there was a marriage. It kind of got. Oh, he's just talking about Jesus. Oh, it's about Jesus doing the party trick where he turned the water into wine, but nobody knows how he did it. It's pretty cool that it. All right, I'm gonna go to bed. Take antibiotics, multivitamins, omega 3s inside without